10 o'clock news.
Joining us tonight, I'm Keely Van Middendorp. We begin with developing news out of Great Falls. Black Eagle fire officials telling MTN News that the cause of a wildfire that ignited north of the city earlier today appears to have started from a person shooting tannerite. Now, Fire Chief Doug Koster said the fire ignited at 123 Lake Flat Lane. Initial calls rang out just before 3 p.m. Video and pictures from the scene show the fire spreading through coulees and near homes along the Lake Flat Lane Ridge line there. He says around 100 acres burned over several hours as crews tackled flames from above and below to contain any spread. It burned mainly grazing land. Koster says crews put the fire out before it burnt a wheat field or any nearby residences. Crews had the fire under control shortly before 6 p.m. and they continued mopping up for several hours. We have more details from the scene on our websites. And not only are fire concerns in play tomorrow, but now a heat advisory will be issued at lunchtime. Our Storm Tracker weather team is here to tell us more. Grant Garland joins us now. And Grant, those bringing their own lunch tomorrow may want to pack some cold cuts.
There you go. Exactly.
It's National Joke Day, so I thought I'd, land one on you.
You got me, madam. Hats off to you. Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a very hot day tomorrow, and that's why the National Weather Service, they have issued this heat advisory in effect for those in the orange from noon through 9 p.m. on Tuesday. And here's the reason why, so don't freak out. Look at these temperatures tomorrow. It is going to be hot, 98 degrees in both Helena and Great Falls, 100 in Havre, 103 in Jordan, 101 in Glasgow. Just a very, very hot day. This is the kind of weather that we need to make sure that we are taking seriously. Drink plenty of water, take a lot of breaks if you have to work outside. And if you do work outside or doing any lawn care, make sure that you're doing it before 10 a.m. and after probably 4, even I'd say 6 p.m. Temperatures right now 73 degrees in Great Falls, 77 in Helena, 69 in Lewistown, and our winds right now looking at only 13 miles an hour in Glasgow. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at a few clouds that have been rolling through the area, and tonight's temperatures, they will be falling down to right around 58 in Lewistown, 61 in Great Falls, and 62 in Helena. Back to you, Keely.
Thanks, Grant. Well, in news around the state tonight, state judges presiding over Montana's drug treatment courts say that they're a much better route than throwing addicts in prison. But late last week, treatment court officials told U.S. Senator Steve Daines that they could use more resources for more courts and that the pandemic isn't helping either. Members of Helena's drug court treatment team met with Senator Daines on Friday to talk about successes and struggles. Two drug court treatment graduates, Don Knowles and Joe Wohlhurst, said that the program has helped them recover after years of addiction and family trauma. Daines said he's a big proponent of treatment courts, which sometimes can be funded by federal money. Helena Treatment Court Judge James Reynolds said another 80 families in Helena could benefit from the courts and that they should certainly be expanded. He also said the pandemic has made it harder by restricting how much he can interact with treatment court participants face to face.
I gotta look at them. They gotta look at me, I gotta look at them, and we gotta talk about what's going on. I'm not sitting up here waiting for you to screw up so I can throw the book at you, We all take those hats off, put on these other hats, and we're working as a team to give you the best chance to be a success in your life.
Listening to the results of these treatment courts tells a very compelling story. This is something we should continue to invest in. Men and women who were on paths of addiction and headed towards prison go through the treatment court process, and they come out as productive members of society by holding them accountable.
And state judges like Reynolds must run the treatment court, yet still manage a full docket of other cases, both civil and criminal. Well, the United States Postal Service is planning for a temporary price hike. It will go into effect from October 18 through December 27th of this year. The price increase is due to the high demand for online items. Package shipments will see a rate increase anywhere from 24 cents to as much as $1.50. USPS filed the notice with the Postal Regulatory Commission. The price hike is expected to still keep the Postal Service rates competitive while providing the agency with much needed revenue. And the U.S. Postal Service is at the center of a growing political storm, with the coronavirus expected to prompt millions to vote by mail in the November election. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling her colleagues back from recess to take action. CBS News correspondent Tom Hansen has the story from New York.
The U.S. Postal Service is a fundamental part of our democracy, and it's not a service that should be taken away.
Protesters turned up outside the Washington, D.C. home of U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy this weekend, some calling for him to step down. On Saturday, President Trump was asked if his recently handpicked Postmaster General is hampering the service to discourage mail-in voting.
No, not at all. The steps that he's taken are trying to stop the tremendous losses that have taken place for many, many years. He's trying to streamline the post office and make it great again, okay?
DeJoy has said he overhauled the post office to fix its dire financial situation, but its internal watchdog is investigating. Democrats accuse the Trump campaign donor of working with the president to undermine mail-in voting, with moves like eliminating overtime.
The problem with the mail-in voting, number one, you're never going to know when the election's over.
President Trump insists mail-in ballots are vulnerable to fraud, which research has shown to be rare. CBS News has learned the Postal Service sent letters to all 50 states and the District of Columbia warning their deadlines for accepting mail-in ballots may result in thousands not being counted.
This is more about states trying to recreate how they get their ballots, and they're trying to do it on a compressed timeline that just won't work.
Democrats want DeJoy and the chairman of the Postal Service Board of Governors to testify on Capitol Hill.
And if Mr. DeJoy refuses to appear, he should be stamped return to sender.
As Election Day draws closer, CBS News has confirmed House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other Democratic leaders are considering an early return from August recess to address the Postal Service crisis. Tom Hansen, CBS News.
And Senator Chuck Schumer said if the House returns, he'll call on Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to bring back the Senate for a vote aimed at protecting the Postal Service. Well, if getting a nasal swab to test for COVID-19 makes you cringe, here's some good news. A new test could use your saliva instead. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration granted emergency authorization for the saliva direct test Saturday. Researchers from the Yale School of Public Health developed it. It appears to be fairly accurate, cheap, and fast, and it relies on commonly available reagents. Oh, and professional basketball players also use it. The NBA funded the test's development, and teams give it to asymptomatic players. Here at home, Montana DPHHS is reporting 92 new cases in the state of Montana for Sunday. That brings Montana's active COVID-19 case total to over 1,500 cases statewide. Cascade County is sitting at 45 tonight, and Lewis and Clark County with 65 cases. And families struggling with the loss and grief from COVID-19 can get support from the Red Cross. The Red Cross began a virtual family assistance center with mental health, spiritual care, and health services volunteers. One Helena volunteer is part of this network. MTN's Alexio Guayo has the story.
Abby Calusi is a disaster mental health lead volunteer for Red Cross. Although she has been volunteering for 3 years, Abby served a 2-month term virtually this year, something she says is not typical in her line of work.
Again, being a mental health volunteer, we're always there. We're always used to being in person with individuals, being able to hug them and being able to console them or put our hand on their shoulder. We weren't able, obviously, to do that.
Because of the pandemic, the Red Cross has stopped deployments. However, the same services are provided, but over the phone through the Virtual Family Assistance Center that Abby says began in May.
So it's a national database, so then the phone call just gets forwarded to your cell phone, and then you kind of take some background information, intake information from them, seeing what their support is, what they need, virtual. It's some kind of connection to local resources, or if they did lose a family member, do they know how to have a memorial service or funeral service, not really being able to gather with other individuals.
And if needed, Abby also says she would follow up with individuals to see how they were doing. Overall, Abby feels grateful to help others in the pandemic.
But then definitely hearing the stories, of people living in their cars because they have lost their job or their, place of residence, due to the disease. I'm very thankful for that. I haven't been impacted, but yet I'm able to give back to people who have been affected.
Anyone suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic is encouraged to contact the Red Cross Virtual Family Assistance Center for help. In Helena, I'm Lexi Guayo, MTM News.
A Bozeman church gets creative and finds a way to allow worshipers to continue to meet while being safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that story coming up.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 10 o'clock news.
And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. In tonight's Montana Ag Network feature, MTN's Lane Nordlet introduces us to a Malt Montana rancher who is taking her knowledge and experience of direct marketing meat to consumers and sharing it in an upcoming webinar series.
In 2015, rancher Sarah and Hank Hollenbeck started High Five Meats, selling their ranch meat directly to consumers. Starting on Tuesday, August 18th, High Five Meats will share their knowledge on the do's and don'ts of direct marketing through a webinar series.
I've spoken at a number of conferences over the years, and a lot of people come up to me afterward and say, I've always wanted to try it, but I just don't know how to get started. I don't know how to begin. And so I've been getting just, bombarded with questions from people on the internet, in person, all the time asking me questions. And I love answering them. I love connecting with people one-on-one. But I see this huge need for someone like myself that has been doing it for a few years and can kind of give them the information that they need to get started.
The webinar series will begin on Tuesday, August 18th and occur consecutively for the next 4 Tuesdays in a row. The topics for the direct-to-consumer webinar series include starting out, pricing, processing, marketing, and shipping. In total, expert guests will discuss every aspect of the direct-to-consumer model.
Given current times, a lot of people are interested in selling their own meat. I thought, okay, instead of someone trying to jump into this, not necessarily know exactly what they're doing, maybe giving a customer a bad first interaction. I don't want that to happen. I want it to be a good, positive relationship on the rancher's side, on the customer side. And so I think if I can give some information on how to make that a seamless interaction, that will hopefully keep people coming back and trying to buy direct from a ranch or farm.
Reporting, Lane Nordlund, MTN News.
Thanks, Lane. And many people are attending church via Zoom during the COVID-19 pandemic, but some churches are looking for creative ways to congregate in person. MTN's Gabby Crevitt has the story of one of the Bozeman churches that's been meeting regularly, but at a healthy social distance.
For the Hope Lutheran Church in Bozeman, it's all about keeping that strong sense of community while keeping each other safe during the COVID-19 pandemic, which is why they had the idea to start hosting drive-through church services.
Hey guys, would you like 2 bulletins? You bet, just one is fine.
The drive-in model is making a major comeback in 2020 and is being adopted by a church in Bozeman.
And people arrive for worship and they're met by an usher who gives them a bulletin which has pretty much the text of the service for the day. And then they're just told to come park basically in any stall that doesn't have a cone.
Churchgoers receive a pre-sealed communion set that includes a wafer and grape juice and are told to tune in to the FM station broadcasting the sermon.
Is wisdom, and to depart from evil.
Pastor Stephen Schmidt says it's tough enough not congregating inside together, but this is a great alternative for those wanting to connect offline and in person.
Well, I guess we honestly believe that the situation isn't safe enough yet for us to return to inside worship, as much as we want to do that.
Yeah, we're able to sing out loud together and without endangering anyone.
Kathy Weaver has been attending Hope Lutheran Church for over 20 years.
I wasn't sure what to expect when we first started doing it, but I've been pleasantly surprised. I really like to be able to see everybody, even if they're just a little ways away, but to know that they're here.
To walk these days by yourself is really difficult. We're not created to be individuals locked away in our homes.
In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
And what better way to get in gear for the new school year than with an end of summer cleaning? Every school year, Five Falls Christian School faculty and parents gather up their sanitation supplies and get to spraying for a fresh start to the new year. MTN's Lindsay Hyatt tells us what families and faculty expect in the school year ahead.
Clean up and head down because school is about to begin.
This year we think it's extra important to get everything really sanitized before the kids come.
33-year teacher Arlene Lambert may have 3 decades of teaching in the books, but even they couldn't prepare her for a school year like this.
This is something totally new. It's like almost being a first-year teacher again.
This year will feature face masks, desk shields, and daily cleaning regimens.
The teachers will be sanitizing high-touch areas twice a day, and then everything once a day.
Lambert said she plans to treat these daily precautions as
the new normal. I don't think I'm going to concentrate a lot on the virus. We're just going to get on with learning and having fun. And I think the kids can still have a lot of fun, even though things will be a little different for them.
Over the past 5 months, she's kept parents up to date with these new changes.
Most of them are fine with this.
Like parent of 2 Five Falls students, Brandon Franklin.
Sounds like there's going to be lots of daily cleanings and appropriate precautions, so I think it's going to be handled very well.
Franklin said he was more concerned that his children wouldn't be able to return to school this year.
I think their biggest concern is probably just that school will not be able to take place here, that they would have to do it online, and they would miss seeing their friends again.
He and his boys are grateful they can head back to a safe and social school environment.
I'm really just happy to send the kids back. They're actually very anxious for school to start. We delayed a week for extra time to get everything ready, so we're just excited for school to start.
In Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
Great Falls Christian school students will head back to school Monday, August 31st, the week after Great Falls Public Schools returns.
Well, will we be able to break the record for tomorrow's heat? Stay tuned to my full forecast coming up right after this break.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you have had a fantastic Sunday. It has been a very hot weekend, but you know what? Attitudes are everything. Let's make it through this work week because we do have some cooler weather on the way. We just got to get through this. Now, today we did see 94 degrees in Great Falls, 95 in Helena. As you headed out towards Jordan, looking at a little bit warmer temperatures at 96 degrees and 94 in Glasgow. The average for this time of year is around 83 degrees. So yeah, we were 11 degrees above that. The record set back in 2013 when it was 101 degrees. Also the year that we got to see Thor take on the Dark Elves in the second Chris Hemsworth movie. 78 degrees right now. It looks nice outside. It feels like 77 and the winds are out of the southeast right around 9 miles per hour. Elsewhere, we're seeing 69 degrees in Lewistown, 73 in Glasgow, and 73 in Jordan, 72 down towards Bozeman. And even though our winds really aren't a problem right now, well, we did see 18-mile-per-hour winds here in the Electric City today, 23 in Jordan and 20 in Glasgow. Over the last 3 hours, we have been looking at clouds that have been making their way towards the east. Don't mind the little green specks. That's usually bugs as well as bats and birds. Now we do have a heat advisory in effect for many folks in our area from noon tomorrow to around 9 p.m. on Tuesday. So this is all due to our temperatures warming up to well above the average for this time of year. We're talking like mid to upper 90s and lower 100s. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But we are also seeing burn restrictions too. And just make sure that if your county is at a stage 1 or is even in a local band, that you're doing your part to help us try and not start any fires. We are looking at an elevated risk for fire weather from really around the early late morning to around 5 p.m. So just make sure that you're doing your part. The driest part of our day tomorrow here in the Electric City will be right around the 3 o'clock mark when we're seeing 14% humidity. And for those in Helena, we're going to see the driest part of our day right around the 6:30 mark when we're seeing 17%. As we go throughout the day tomorrow, we could be looking at 20 to 30 mile per hour winds gusting here in Great Falls, as well as possibly even 40 mile per hour winds. And this is all thanks to a high pressure that will continue to really stay in full force over the next couple of days. We will see maybe a sprinkle or two late Monday night into early Tuesday morning as we go throughout the day. We're just going to have to hope to see that rain actually fall and actually hit the ground because of how dry it's been. 61 degrees tonight in Great Falls, 58 in Lewistown, and looking at 55 in Havre. We are again looking at a heat advisory in effect tomorrow for many folks, as temperatures are going to be up to around 98 in Great Falls, as well as Helena, 96 in Lewistown, and 103 in Jordan. Going throughout the next 3 days, temperatures will start to drop down to 90 degrees on Thursday as our chances for showers and thunderstorms do vamp up. 86 though on Sunday. And for our friends in Helena, we're going to be looking at temperatures falling down to only 91 degrees on Wednesday with scattered storms in the forecast.
All right, thanks, Grant. Well, Chase Your Dreams VR in Great Falls was only a month old when they had to temporarily close their doors back in March. This week on Montana Cares, MTN's Matt Holzaffel shows us that even during a pandemic, there's always time to chase your dreams.
This week on Montana Cares, don't adjust your TV sets. This isn't alternate reality, it's virtual reality. We're at Chase Your Dreams VR in downtown Great Falls. The locally owned business opened in February of this year before having to close in March. Now in August, they've been open again for over a month, and the owners say they're doing well. Let's go inside.
We couldn't really do anything. It was really tough, but then they started reopening, allowing us to take private bookings, which is what we're doing right now.
Chase Morgan is not your typical business owner, but Chase Your Dreams is not your typical business.
The idea came from when we were in Idaho. There was a virtual reality arcade down there, and we went there. I was with a friend, and we just loved it. And so when we actually got out of that place and were driving around, I was like, what if we had something like this in Great Falls?
Thanks to some help from the CARES Act.
It gave us a little bit just to stay open for those 2 months during the quarantine so that we could push through to the other side so that we could be here where we are right now.
And a bit of fun. Chase Your Dreams is ready to help you keep chasing yours.
Future looks like a lot of fun, a lot of exciting adventures that you can have in VR. I mean, we are ready to have people in and have them have fun in here.
Not only is Chase Your Dreams VR back open again, but they're taking appointments online. All they ask is you book at least 24 hours ahead and wear a mask. In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
Still to come on the 10 o'clock news, we check in with one ex-football player who's finding success by the court rather than the field. Details ahead. And welcome back to the 10 o'clock news. We talk a lot about Grizz football when they're out on the field, but what about when they're off the field? Many go on to do some great things with their degree. MTN's Jack Ginsburg checked in with one former Grizz who's now on the NBA scene.
Miles McKee-Oshibodu used to dream about sitting courtside at Laker games. Now he's getting paid to do it.
It's so cool, man. It's like literally the coolest thing. I tell people all the time, like, you know, like I show up to work and like it still doesn't feel real. I'd be like, we were like 60 games into the season. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what I'm doing again today, again, like, you know?
Oshibodu grew up in Southern California before playing football and attending the University of Montana. In his senior year, he got an opportunity to be part of the Grizz Athletics media team.
My guys, Eric Tabor and Nick Housey, man, they really hooked it up. I mean, they did a lot for me in the sense that they just gave me the opportunity and they, you know, believed in me enough to give me the opportunity in the first place.
And fresh out of college, he got his dream job, a media relations associate with the LA Lakers.
I was like the weird kid that was like overly obsessed with like the Lakers. And I would like, when Lakers would lose games, I'd like take it personally, like as if I was on the court and like, you know, all about it. It's all I cared about, you know, so to be able to, you know, have the opportunity to work with them in any capacity, but let alone like in such a player-facing, like, you know, one-on-one personal kind of context, has been really special, man.
So now Oshibodu's normal day consists of scenarios he only dreamed about as a kid.
It does take like a little bit of an adjustment period, no matter who you are, even if you're like the coolest guy in the world. You know, when you're surrounded by, you know, you look to your right, it's LeBron, and then you turn the corner and you're, you know, walking to the bathroom and you bump into Jeannie Buss, and then, you know, you see Rob Pelinka in the bathroom.
However, with COVID-19 and the NBA in the bubble, he's working sales, waiting for the NBA to return. But he's got bigger plans in the future and a ton of time ahead of him.
For some reason, I've always been really intrigued by the idea of being an agent, just because I feel like I have not only like the personality for it, but I feel like I have like the hustle and the work ethic, and I'm just like capable.
In Missoula, Jack Ginsburg, MTN Sports.
And you can find more of that conversation on montanasports.com. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Up one last time tonight, temperatures falling down to only 61 degrees in the Electric City, 62 in Helena, and 54 down towards Bozeman. We are looking at a heat advisory in effect tomorrow, starting at noon and lasting through Tuesday at 9 p.m. All thanks to our temperatures warming up to 103 in Jordan, 98 in Great Falls, 100 in Havre, and 99 in Glasgow. over the next 3 days, we are looking at temperatures cooling down rather, so to speak, to 92 degrees, only introducing an isolated chance for a shower or two. And for our friends in Helena, looking at a better chance for showers and thunderstorms starting on Wednesday.
All right. Hey, Grant, knock, knock.
Who's there?
It's National Joke Day.
Oh,
Research
Lord.
shows laughter really can be good medicine. It activates the abdominal muscles and releases feel-good endorphins. So go ahead and ask your friends, why did that chicken cross the road? Or better yet, Grant, I found a few weather-related jokes for you. Bear with me, everybody. So, Grant, can bees fly in the rain?
I don't know.
No, not without their yellow jackets.
Oh my goodness.
Also, another one. Why did the ocean, or what did the ocean say to the other ocean?
Why so far?
Nothing. They just waved.
You know what? I'm just
And then finally, what did one volcano say to the other volcano?
I don't know.
I lava you.
Oh my gosh.
Just like you lava.
All right, time to go ram my head into a wall.
That is enough jokes for National Joke Day. I think to last us till next year. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your night.